Welcome to Zoe Stories. Caught in my wife's bra and panties. I never thought a single mistake could change my life forever. It was late, well past midnight, and the apartment was silent except for the low hum of the refrigerator. My wife, Emily, had fallen asleep hours ago after another long day at work. She always carried herself with this sharp confidence, the kind that made people listen when she spoke. I admired it. Sometimes, I even envied it. And then there was me, Ethan, 21, quiet, insecure, and struggling to find my place in the world. I was studying part-time and working in a bookstore, drifting without direction while Emily, at only 23, seemed to own every room she walked into. That night, I found myself staring at her dresser. The top drawer, the one where she kept her lingerie, was cracked open just enough to tease my curiosity. I don't know what exactly pulled me toward it. Maybe loneliness. Maybe the quiet ache of wanting to feel beautiful, if only for a moment. I told myself I'd just look. Just one glance at the satin and lace that seemed so far removed from my life of jeans and loose hoodies. But the second I touched the fabric, my hands started to tremble. I picked up a silky bra, the one in pale pink with delicate lace trim. My heart raced as if I'd been caught already, even though Emily was sound asleep in the next room. Then I saw the matching panties tucked beneath it, and something inside me cracked open. Before I realized it, I was in the bathroom with the door locked, my reflection staring back at me in the mirror. I slipped the panties up my legs. The fabric hugged my skin in a way that made me shiver. Then came the bra, awkward at first, but once I adjusted the straps and saw myself in the mirror, a heat spread through me that I couldn't explain. For the first time in forever, I didn't see just Ethan, the boy who never fit in, who lived in the shadow of his wife's strength. I saw someone softer, fragile, pretty. But then, Ethan? Her voice cut through the silence like a knife. My heart stopped. I scrambled toward the door, fumbling with the straps, but it was too late. The handle turned, and Emily stood there in the doorway, her eyes narrowing as she took in the sight before her, her husband, caught in her bra and panties, frozen in shame. For a long, unbearable moment, she said nothing. Her gaze ran over me slowly, her lips curving not into anger, but into something far worse. Curiosity. Interesting, she whispered, stepping closer, her eyes sharp and unreadable. So, this is what you do when I'm asleep? I wanted to melt into the floor. Words stumbled out of me. It's not what it looks like, I was just. But she cut me off with a raised hand, her expression unreadable. She circled me like a predator, her heels clicking against the bathroom tiles. The silence between us grew heavy until I thought I might collapse beneath it. Then, finally, she spoke again, her tone calm but laced with something dangerous. You look surprisingly good like this, Ethan. Her words sank into me like venom and honey at once. A shiver ran down my spine, not just from humiliation but from something I couldn't admit even to myself, something darker, deeper. I waited for her to scream, to call me disgusting, to leave me. But instead, she leaned closer, her lips brushing against my ear as she whispered, "Maybe we should see just how far this can go." And with that, my life shifted. My secret was no longer mine alone. It was hers too. And she wasn't going to let me bury it again. Emily doesn't reject him. Instead, she seizes control, hinting at a dangerous game of dominance and transformation. Ethan's shame is now a weapon in her hands. I barely slept that night. After Emily caught me, the humiliation clung to me like a second skin. I half expected her to wake me in the morning and tell me to pack my things, that our marriage was over before it had even really begun. But instead, I woke to the smell of coffee. Emily was already dressed for work, her hair neatly pinned, her blouse tucked into a sharp pencil skirt. She didn't look angry. She didn't look disgusted. She looked amused. "Morning, Ethan," she said smoothly, sliding a cup of coffee toward me. "Did you sleep well?" Her voice was casual, but there was a gleam in her eyes that made my stomach twist. I tried to answer, but the words caught in my throat. She smiled faintly, sipping her own coffee. You know, I couldn't stop thinking about last night. About how natural you looked in my bra and panties. The mug nearly slipped from my hands. Emily, please don't. I swear, it was a mistake. It won't happen again. Oh, I don't think it was a mistake. She leaned forward, her tone low and deliberate. I think it was a secret you've been hiding. And now that I know, I'd like to explore it. Her words made my chest tighten. Explore it, I whispered. Yes, she said simply. I want to see just how far you'll go. How pretty I can make you. I stared at her, stunned into silence. Was she serious? You can't be. Emily, I'm your husband. I'm not, my voice faltered. Not what? She asked softly. Not feminine? Not beautiful? Because what I saw last night told me otherwise. The room spun around me. I didn't know whether to feel terrified or something else. She stood, heels clicking against the kitchen tiles, and walked around to me. Her hand brushed my cheek, her touch both tender and commanding. After work tonight, she said, I want you in my bedroom, wearing exactly what you had on last night. Bra, panties, everything. My heart stopped. Emily, I can't. You can, she cut me off. And you will. Or maybe I'll let a few people know what I saw last night. Maybe your sister, maybe your friends. The blood drained from my face. She wouldn't. Would she? She leaned closer, her lips grazing my ear. Don't look so horrified, Ethan. I'm not doing this to hurt you. I'm doing this because I think you're hiding a side of yourself that deserves to be seen. And I intend to bring it out. When she left for work, I sat frozen in the kitchen, the coffee growing cold in my hands. My secret had slipped out of my control. Now it belonged to her. That evening, I stood in front of the mirror in our bedroom, trembling. Emily had laid out the same lingerie I'd worn the night before, along with a silky black robe. The air felt heavy, charged, as if the room itself was holding its breath. I slipped into the panties, then the bra, the straps digging lightly into my shoulders. The robe slid over me, soft as a whisper. My reflection looked both ridiculous and heartbreakingly fragile. Then I heard the door open. Emily stepped inside, her perfume trailing behind her like a warning. She closed the door with a click and leaned against it, arms folded. Well, she said, her voice smooth as silk. Look at you. Her eyes traveled over me slowly, deliberately, until I thought I might shatter under the weight of her gaze. You're blushing, she noted, her smile curling. That's good. It means you're feeling it. The shame, the thrill. That's what I want. I wanted to protest, to tell her this wasn't me. But the words never came. Because deep down, a part of me was terrified she was right. Emily stepped closer, her fingers brushing over the lace of the bra. You'll get used to it, Ethan. Tonight is only the beginning. And in her eyes, I saw it. This wasn't a game she planned to end anytime soon. Emily makes it clear this isn't a one-time humiliation. It's the start of a process. Ethan realizes he's trapped between fear of exposure and his wife's dangerous curiosity. I stood there in her lingerie and robe, my body trembling under Emily's gaze. She didn't rush. She let the silence work on me, stretching it until I felt naked in more ways than one. Then she smiled, a slow, knowing curve of her lips. Good. Now let's take this a step further. My breath caught. A step further? Of course, she said lightly, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. You're not stopping at lingerie, Ethan. We're going to see how beautiful I can make you. She turned and opened the drawer of her vanity. The soft clink of compacts and brushes filled the air as she began laying out her tools. Foundation, eyeliner, lipstick, blush. My blood turned cold. No, Emily. Please, I can't. You can, she interrupted smoothly, her eyes meeting mine in the mirror. And you will. Remember what we talked about? Secrets don't stay secrets forever. I'm protecting you. But in exchange, you'll give me this. Her calm certainty left me powerless. I sat down on the vanity stool like a condemned prisoner. Emily moved behind me, her fingers firm on my chin as she tilted my face up to the mirror. Don't fight it. Just watch. The first brush of foundation against my skin sent a jolt through me. The cool creaminess blurred out the tired shadows under my eyes, smoothing away the rough edges of my face. I watched in horror and fascination as her hands worked with practiced grace, layer by layer transforming my reflection. When she applied eyeliner, my lashes looked darker, sharper. Lipstick painted my mouth into something softer, fuller. My chest tightened as she brushed blush across my cheeks, the pink bloom making me look alive in a way I didn't recognize. "There," she murmured, stepping back to admire her work. "You see it now, don't you?" I stared into the mirror, my pulse pounding in my ears. The person staring back wasn't just Ethan in makeup. It was someone else. Someone delicate. Someone almost beautiful. Tears burned my eyes. "Emily, this isn't me. It can't be me." She leaned down, her lips brushing my ear.
"It is you.
The version you've been hiding. The version that excites you even as it terrifies you." Her words cut me open. Because she was right, I couldn't stop the flicker of heat in my chest, the strange rush of seeing myself like this. She wasn't done. "Stand up," she commanded softly. My legs shook as I obeyed. Emily guided me across the room, watching my awkward shuffle. She clicked her tongue.
Too heavy.
Too masculine. "If you're going to look like this, you need to move like this." She slipped off her heels and pushed them toward me. Black stilettos, impossibly high. I froze.
"No."
"Emily, I can't even walk in those." Her smile sharpened. "Then tonight you'll learn." I slipped my feet into the shoes. My ankles wobbled instantly, my balance failing. Emily caught me by the arms, steadying me with a laugh that sent heat rushing to my cheeks.
"Slow.
Graceful. Heel, then toe. Think of it like gliding." She stood behind me, her hands firm on my hips as she guided me across the floor. Each step felt like a battle, the muscles in my calves burning, my pride disintegrating. But with her whispering instructions, correcting me with gentle but unyielding touches, I somehow managed a shaky rhythm. When she finally let go, I caught sight of myself in the mirror again, lingerie clinging to my body, face painted soft and feminine, teetering on high heels. I didn't recognize the person staring back. And the worst part? I wasn't sure I wanted to. Emily's smile widened as she crossed her arms. "Perfect. You're already halfway there." I shook my head, choking on panic. "Halfway to what?" She leaned in, her breath warm against my neck. "Halfway to being the girl I always knew you could be." And in that moment, I understood. This wasn't going to stop. She had no intention of letting me crawl back into my old self. Ethan realizes Emily isn't just testing him, she's leading him down a path of no return, step by step. And for the first time, he feels the dangerous thrill of being pretty, even as he hates himself for it. The next morning, I prayed Emily would forget the night before, that she'd brush it off as a strange phase and let me bury the memory. But when she appeared in the bedroom doorway, already dressed in her work blazer, she was carrying something in a shopping bag. "Get dressed," she said simply, tossing the bag onto the bed. I frowned, pulling the tissue paper aside. Inside lay a soft floral blouse, skinny jeans, and a pair of ballet flats. My stomach flipped. "Emily, no. I can't." "You can," she cut in smoothly, her arms folding. "This isn't a choice, Ethan. If you want my silence, you'll do exactly as I say. And today we're going out." My blood ran cold.
"Out?"
"Dressed like that? You can't mean, Emily, people will see me." "Exactly," she said, her smile sharp. "And that's the point. You need to learn what it feels like. Besides," her gaze flickered over me, "you'll blend in better than you think." Her confidence terrified me more than the clothes themselves. By the time I slipped into the outfit, my chest felt like it was caving in. The blouse clung to me softly, the jeans hugging tighter than anything I'd ever worn. The flats made me feel small, delicate. And with Emily brushing a touch of makeup across my face, the reflection in the mirror looked dangerously convincing. "Perfect," she said, stepping back to admire me. "Now, grab your purse." My purse. I echoed. She tossed me one of hers, sleek, black, casual enough to look like it belonged. I clutched it like a lifeline as she guided me toward the door. The hallway outside our apartment felt like a spotlight. Every sound, the hum of the elevator, the click of her heels, the thud of my flats, echoed too loudly. My heart thundered as we stepped out into daylight. The mall was crowded, alive with chatter and laughter. I felt raw, exposed, like everyone's eyes were on me. My hands shook as I tried to follow Emily, keeping my head down. Chin up, she murmured, her hand slipping into mine, guiding me like a child. If you slouch, people will look. Walk tall.
Smile.
Trust me. We passed a group of girls chatting near the fountain. One of them glanced at me and whispered something. My stomach clenched, certain she'd seen through me. But then they all laughed and kept talking, not giving me a second glance. Emily smirked.
See?
You're fine. No one knows. I wanted to believe her, but my nerves were shot. Every step felt like a countdown to disaster. Then she tugged me toward a salon. The smell of hairspray and shampoo hit me instantly. My blood froze. Emily, no. Not here, please. She ignored me, speaking to the receptionist with effortless charm. My sister here could use a little polish. Just something light.
Sister.
The word jolted through me. Before I could protest, I was ushered into a chair. The stylist, a cheerful woman with bright red nails, ran her fingers through my hair. Such lovely texture, she said warmly. We'll give you some soft waves. It'll bring out your features. I sat frozen, my reflection multiplying in the salon mirrors. Strands of my hair curled, styled, sprayed into shape. Lip gloss brushed across my mouth. A touch of blush dusted my cheeks. By the time they spun me around, I hardly recognized myself. Emily's smile was wicked satisfaction. Beautiful, she whispered, her eyes gleaming. Doesn't she look beautiful? The stylist beamed. She's adorable. You've got such a natural face for this, sweetie. My throat closed.
Sweetie.
Beautiful. Words I'd never heard directed at me before. Walking out of the salon, I felt like the ground might open up beneath me. My face burned, my stomach twisted. But beneath the terror was something else, something I couldn't shake. A flicker of pride. Emily leaned in close as we stepped back into the crowd. You felt it, didn't you? She murmured. The thrill of being seen. Of being admired. Don't lie. I opened my mouth to deny it, but no sound came. Because deep down, I knew she was right. And that realization scared me more than anything else. Ethan experiences his first real public outing and salon trip, humiliated and terrified, yet secretly thrilled at being called beautiful. Emily knows she's found the crack in his defenses, and she's going to pry it wide open. The ride home from the mall felt like a fever dream. I sat stiffly in the passenger seat, clutching the purse Emily had given me, my freshly styled hair brushing against my cheeks. I couldn't stop replaying the salon stylist's words in my head. She's adorable. Adorable.
Me.
The word should have made me sick. Instead, it lingered, twisting in my chest like a hook. Emily drove in silence, her lips curved into that same maddening half-smile. She was enjoying every second of my unraveling. When we got back to the apartment, I rushed to the bedroom, desperate to change out of the clothes and makeup, to scrub this whole day off me. But as I reached for a t-shirt, Emily's voice cut through the room like a whip. Leave it on. I froze, my hand trembling over the drawer. Emily, I can't. You can, she said, stepping into the room. She leaned against the doorframe, arms folded, eyes sharp. From now on, you wear what I give you. Understand? My chest tightened. But these are your things. Your clothes. They're not. They're yours now, she interrupted smoothly. At least when you're in this apartment. No more baggy hoodies, no more jeans. If you want to keep my silence, you'll live as I say. The finality in her voice made my stomach drop. My last shred of normalcy, gone with a single command. She crossed the room and opened the closet. My closet. She pulled out a stack of my old clothes, tossing them onto the bed. Pack these up. We don't need them anymore. Panic surged through me. Emily, no, please don't do this. I need those. They're who I am. She tilted her head, her eyes narrowing.
No, Ethan.
They're who you were. Her words hit like a slap. I wanted to fight back, but my hands moved numbly, folding shirts, stuffing jeans into a box. Each piece felt like a funeral. When the last hoodie disappeared into the cardboard, I felt hollow, stripped bare. Emily set the box aside with a satisfied smile. Good boy. She paused, her smile widening. Or should I say, good girl? Heat flared in my face. Don't call me that. Why not? You certainly look the part. She reached out, tucking a strand of styled hair behind my ear. Her touch was gentle, but her tone was anything but. You're already halfway there, Ethan. Don't waste energy fighting what you're becoming. Her words terrified me, because a part of me was starting to believe them. That night, she didn't let me sleep in boxers. Instead, she laid out a satin nightgown, pale blue and soft as water. Put it on, she said simply. My hands shook as I obeyed. The fabric slid down my body like a second skin, clinging in ways that made me shiver. Crawling into bed beside her, I felt like an imposter in my own life. Emily wrapped an arm around me, pulling me close. Her voice was a whisper against my neck. Do you know why I'm doing this? I swallowed hard. Because you hate me. Because you want to humiliate me. She chuckled softly, the sound low and dangerous.
No, Ethan.
I'm doing this because I see something in you that you've always been too afraid to admit. And I won't stop until you admit it. Her words echoed in the dark, sinking deeper than I wanted to admit. Lying there in the satin nightgown, my body trembling in her arms, I realized something horrifying. I was losing the ability to tell whether this was punishment or liberation. Ethan's old male life is literally packed into a box, and Emily begins remolding his identity piece by piece. He knows he should feel broken, but a dangerous flicker of surrender has already begun. I thought last night had been a nightmare I'd soon wake up from. But when morning came, reality hit harder than ever. I was still in my wife's silky nightgown, still shaved smooth, and still under her watchful, calculating eyes. She didn't let me retreat into silence. We're going to take another step today, she said while brushing her hair in front of the mirror. Her calmness was scarier than anger. She had a plan. Each day, a new piece of me would be chipped away until nothing of the old me remained. When I stayed quiet, she snapped her fingers. Come here. I obeyed. Not because I wanted to, but because the weight of yesterday still hung heavy on me. On the vanity lay a row of lipsticks, reds, pinks, plums. She picked up a bright, glossy crimson. This, she said, holding it up like a weapon, will decide how well you can hide behind a mask. Lipstick changes everything. It forces you to exaggerate, to smile differently, to eat differently. It tells the world you're a woman before you even speak. She leaned closer, her voice dropping to a whisper that both soothed and threatened. So, let's see if you can wear it without trembling. My heart thudded. Lipstick was a boundary I had never imagined crossing. Dresses and panties were humiliating enough, but painting my lips? That felt permanent, irreversible. Please not that, I whispered. Her eyes hardened. Do you think you have a choice? She tilted my chin up, unscrewed the lipstick, and began tracing over my lips. The cold, creamy texture sent shivers down my spine. I watched myself in the mirror, watched my reflection change into someone unrecognizable. When she was done, she stepped back, admiring her work like an artist. Smile, she commanded. I tried, but the trembling corners of my mouth betrayed me. She smirked. Pathetic. Try again. Bigger. My smile stretched, forced and fake. She clicked her tongue. You'll never convince anyone like that. Try again, or do you want me to punish you? Shame burned in my chest as I forced a girlish smile, tilting my head slightly as she had shown me yesterday. This time, she clapped softly, mockingly.
See? Pretty.
Almost believable. Almost. That word stung more than anything. Then she pulled out her phone. What are you doing? I asked, panic rising. Taking a picture. For practice.
No.
You can't. The click of the camera froze me. She angled the phone so I could see. The picture was horrifying. It didn't look like me at all. The person staring back was soft, delicate, with painted lips and uncertain eyes. This is who you are now, she whispered, pressing the screen into my hands. A confused little doll who depends on me to tell her how to exist. I wanted to throw the phone across the room, but instead, I stared. And that was the most terrifying part. I couldn't look away. Somewhere, beneath the humiliation, a flicker of something else stirred. A dangerous curiosity.
Was I really pretty? The thought sickened me.
Yet I couldn't bury it. She noticed the way my expression shifted, and her smirk widened.
Oh.
You saw it too, didn't you? She whispered. That tiny spark of recognition. The part of you that knows you'll never escape this. Her words cut deep, because they weren't entirely wrong. Now, she said, handing me a tissue. Wipe it off.
Slowly.
Look yourself in the eye while you do it. And remember, no matter how much you try to erase it, you'll always know what you look like in lipstick. I obeyed, staring into the mirror as I wiped the crimson away. But the ghost of it lingered, staining not just my lips, but my soul. And for the first time since this nightmare began, I realized I wasn't fighting just her. I was fighting myself. I barely slept that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that reflection again. Those red lips, that forced smile, that stranger staring back at me. I told myself it was just lipstick, just a cruel game. But a whisper in my mind kept echoing. What if she's right? What if I really could be her doll? The next morning, I hoped maybe my wife would forget, or get bored of her little game. But when I entered the kitchen, she was already waiting, coffee in hand, eyes sharp with anticipation. On the chair beside her sat a pair of black patent heels, 4 inches high.
Shiny.
Feminine. Impossible. My stomach dropped. No, please, not those. Her smirk widened. Good morning to you too, sweetheart. She tapped the shoes with one manicured nail.
Click. Click.
You'll be wearing these today. I can't even walk in those, I muttered. That's the point, she replied coolly. You'll learn. I shook my head, almost pleading. Why are you doing this to me? For a moment, her eyes softened, almost like she might answer honestly. But then she leaned back, sipping her coffee. Because I can. The words hit me like a slap. She pushed the shoes toward me. Put them on. My hands trembled as I slipped my feet inside. The heels pinched immediately, forcing my balance onto my toes. When I stood, I wobbled so badly, she burst out laughing. Careful, she teased. Wouldn't want to break a nail. Each step I took across the kitchen was a disaster. My ankles buckled, my stride was clumsy, and my arms flailed for balance. She watched with delight, sipping her coffee like it was morning entertainment. Stop stomping, she scolded.
Glide.
Heels aren't about walking, they're about floating. I can't, I snapped, frustrated. Her eyes narrowed. You will. Or I'll take you outside right now and make you practice in front of the neighbors. The threat froze me. My heart pounded. I imagined Mrs. Lang from next door glancing out her window and seeing me in heels and last night's nightgown. The humiliation would kill me. So I tried again.
Step.
Wobble.
Step. Catch. Step.
Almost fall. She clapped mockingly. Better. Pretend you're a swan, not a soldier. By the 20th try, something strange happened. I actually found a rhythm. Small, careful steps. Hips swaying just slightly for balance. My posture straighter. And when I caught a glimpse of myself in the hallway mirror, I froze. For a split second, I didn't see me. I saw her, a girl in heels, moving awkwardly but undeniably feminine. My stomach churned. She noticed the way my face paled, and her smirk deepened. You saw it, didn't you? She whispered. That girl in the mirror. She's real. She's you. No, I whispered. That's not me. But even as I denied it, I couldn't shake the image. She circled me slowly, like a predator with its prey. "You're already losing him," she murmured in my ear. "The boy you were. Every step in these heels takes you further away from him." Her words sink deep, curling around my mind like chains. Finally, she stopped in front of me, tilting her head. "Good enough for today. Tomorrow, we'll try them outside." My blood ran cold. "Outside?" "Oh yes," she purred. "The world deserves to meet my pretty little doll." I barely ate breakfast. My stomach felt like a stone, heavy and cold. All night I'd replayed her last words in my head. "Tomorrow, we'll try them outside." And now tomorrow had arrived. My wife breezed into the room with an outfit already laid out on the bed. A soft pink blouse with frilled sleeves, a short pleated skirt, nude pantyhose, and those same black patent heels. Next to it sat a small makeup bag and a purse. "You're kidding," I whispered. "No," she said. "We're going shopping." I stared at the clothes, then at her. "People will see me. Someone will recognize me." "That's the point," she replied. "You need to feel it. The world needs to feel you." I sat on the edge of the bed, my hands shaking. "Please, I'm not ready for this." Her voice softened, but her eyes stayed hard. "You think you can hide in the house forever? This isn't a game. This is your new life." When I still hesitated, she stepped closer, brushing my hair back with a strangely tender gesture. "You're scared," she whispered.
Good.
"Fear will make you graceful." I don't even remember dressing myself. My hands worked like they belonged to someone else, pulling on the pantyhose, sliding the skirt up my legs, buttoning the blouse. The silky fabrics whispered against my skin, amplifying my humiliation. Then came the makeup. She sat me in front of the mirror, applying foundation, mascara, a soft pink lipstick this time. As she worked, she hummed softly, like a mother dressing her child. By the time she finished, I didn't recognize the reflection. A shy, feminine creature stared back, her eyes wide with panic. "That's you," my wife said gently. "My little doll, ready for her first day out." I shook my head. I can't do this." Her smile vanished. "If you don't stand up right now, I'll call your boss and tell him exactly what you're wearing. Maybe send him a photo." The blood drained from my face. "You wouldn't." She tilted her head, arching an eyebrow. "Try me." I stood. The heels wobbled beneath me. The skirt felt scandalously short. The lipstick tasted like panic. But I stood. She handed me the purse. "Good girl." I flinched at the words, but something deep inside quivered. A dark mixture of humiliation and something else I couldn't name. The drive to the mall was a blur. My heart pounded so loudly I could barely hear her humming to the radio. I prayed we wouldn't see anyone we knew. But the moment we walked through the sliding glass doors, reality hit. Bright lights.
Crowds.
The smell of perfume and coffee. People everywhere. And me dressed like this. Every step felt like walking through fire. My heels clicked on the polished floor, echoing louder than gunshots in my ears. I kept my head down, praying no one would look. But they did. A couple of teenagers snickered. An older woman gave me a once-over, then looked away quickly. My cheeks burned. "Lift your head," my wife whispered sharply. "Smile."
I forced myself to raise my chin.
The lipstick stretched with the movement. "That's better," she murmured. "You're almost believable." She led me to a lingerie store. My blood turned to ice.
No.
"Not here." "Yes, here," she said, pulling me inside. "If you're going to wear my things, you're going to learn how to pick your own." The store was a nightmare of lace and silk. Bras hung like traps from every wall. Panties folded like secrets in neat little drawers. 34B or 36C? A clerk asked cheerfully, glancing between us. Before I could speak, my wife smiled. "We're still figuring that out." The clerk's eyes flicked to me, then back to her. Something in her expression shifted. Amusement?
Pity?
I couldn't tell. My wife picked up a lacy bra, holding it to my chest. "This one," she said. "And these panties." "Please," I whispered, my face on fire. "Sure," she murmured. Good girls don't whine. By the time we reached the checkout, my hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold the bag. Breathe, my wife whispered. The worst part is over. But as we walked back through the mall, a voice called my name. I froze. Slowly, I turned. It was Mark, my oldest friend. And he was staring right at me. Hey. Mark's voice cut through the noise of the mall like a blade. Is that you? My blood went cold. He was only a few feet away, holding a shopping bag, his eyes wide and searching. I wanted to run, vanish into the crowd, but my heels rooted me to the spot. My pulse thundered in my ears. Mark, I croaked, my voice high and trembling. My wife tightened her grip on my arm, smiling sweetly as though nothing were wrong. Hello, she said brightly. Isn't it a lovely day? Mark's gaze darted between us, then back to me. His brow furrowed.
Wait.
Is that? No, I blurted out too quickly. You must be mistaken. My voice cracked on the last word. Mark blinked. His eyes narrowed as if trying to piece together a puzzle. He stepped closer, and in that moment, I could see the recognition flicker in his face. Oh my God, he whispered. It is you. The floor beneath me seemed to tilt. I swayed in the heels, clutching the shopping bag like a shield. Mark's voice was low, disbelieving. Why are you dressed like that? I opened my mouth, but no words came out. Shame burned hotter than fire, climbing from my chest to my face. Every pair of eyes in the store seemed to turn toward us, curious, whispering. My wife squeezed my hand, her nails digging into my skin. Sweetheart, she said smoothly, tell him the truth. My throat locked. I could barely breathe. Mark's expression was unreadable, somewhere between confusion and horror. Man, what happened to you? I stammered. My vision blurred with tears. It's not what it looks like. But even as I said it, I knew it was exactly what it looked like. Mark's eyes softened, just slightly. Are you okay? For a moment, I almost broke. I almost begged him to take me away, to save me from this nightmare. But before I could speak, my wife leaned in close to me, her whisper sharp and poisonous. Say one wrong word, and I'll ruin you. Right here. Right now. My lips trembled. My chest ached. I looked at Mark, my best friend since childhood, and whispered the lie that shattered me inside. I'm fine. Mark studied me, searching my face. He didn't believe me, but he didn't push. He nodded slowly, forced a smile, and stepped back. All right, if you say so. I'll see you around. And just like that, he turned and walked away. My knees nearly buckled. I wanted to chase after him, scream, beg him not to leave me like this. But my wife's grip held me still. Good girl, she murmured, her lips brushing my ear. You passed the test. Tears spilled down my cheeks, smearing the mascara she had so carefully applied. That wasn't a test, I whispered brokenly. She smiled, her eyes glittering with cruel satisfaction. Everything is a test. And you're doing so well. I hated her. I hated the lipstick, the heels, the skirt. I hated them all, the people, the whispers. But most of all, I hated myself for staying silent. As we walked out, each step in those heels felt heavier than the last. And for the first time, I realized I wasn't just losing control. I was losing me. I didn't speak a word on the way home. The car hummed with silence, broken only by the occasional tap of her nails against the steering wheel. My head pressed against the glass, eyes unfocused, replaying Mark's face over and over again. That moment, his confusion, his pity, burned into me like acid. When we got back, I ripped the heels off before we even reached the bedroom, stumbling barefoot down the hall. My wife followed, slow and deliberate, like a hunter watching prey wear itself out. I slammed the door to the bathroom and locked it. For a few seconds, I just stood there, panting. Then I turned toward the mirror and froze. The girl staring back at me was a wreck, smudged mascara, streaks of tears, lipstick faded but still visible. Her hair a little messy, her blouse wrinkled from trembling hands.
It wasn't me.
It couldn't be me. I grabbed the sink, leaning in close, shaking my head. That's not me. That's not me. But the reflection didn't change. Get out of my head. I screamed at the glass, fists clenched. I'm not her. I'm not your doll. My fist rose, trembling, ready to shatter the mirror just to make it stop. To kill the image once and for all. A sharp knock rattled the door. Don't you dare. My wife's voice slid through the wood, calm but dangerous. If you break that mirror, you'll regret it. I froze, fists still raised. She continued, her tone softening into a velvet threat. You think destroying the reflection will bring him back? The boy you were? Look closer. He's already gone. No, I whispered, shaking my head. He's still here. I'm still here. But the mirror didn't lie. My painted lips trembled. My teary eyes were wide, vulnerable, feminine. Even in anger, I looked like a broken doll. And deep inside, a terrifying thought whispered, she's right. My fist lowered slowly. My grip on the sink loosened. The door clicked open. I hadn't even realized she had the key. She stepped inside, calm as ever, and stood behind me. Her hands rested lightly on my shoulders, her reflection merging with mine in the mirror. See, she whispered. Look at us. My little twin. My pretty girl. This is who you are now. I wanted to scream, to shove her away.
But my throat locked.
My body betrayed me, trembling under her touch. Tears spilled again, my reflection blurring. Why are you doing this to me? Her eyes met mine in the mirror. For the first time, I saw something flicker there, something raw and unguarded. Because I can't stand looking at you as him, she whispered. I'd rather destroy you and rebuild you into something beautiful than let you stay what you were. The words sliced through me, leaving me hollow. Her lips brushed my ear. And deep down you want it too. I closed my eyes, unable to face the girl in the glass any longer. But even with my eyes shut, I could still see her. The next morning, I woke to the sound of her humming. My body ached from the heels, from the constant tension of pretending, from the exhaustion of trying to hold on to who I was. When I entered the living room, my wife was already dressed, her hair perfect, makeup flawless, holding a small bag. Time for your first salon visit, she announced cheerfully, tossing me the bag with trembling hands inside.
What?
No, please, not that. I stammered, panic rising. She ignored me, her eyes sharp and commanding. You've been practicing walking, smiling, posing. Now it's time for people to see. Public scrutiny is the final test. I swallowed hard. My stomach flipped violently. The thought of strangers looking, judging, noticing it was unbearable. She led me to the car, and the drive to the salon was silent except for her occasional hum. I felt like prey being led to the predator. Inside the salon, the air smelled of perfume and hairspray. Mirrors everywhere, reflecting me from every angle. My heart thumped painfully. The stylist approached me with a warm smile. What can we do for you today? Before I could protest, my wife chimed in. Give her a full makeover. I want her to look irresistible. The stylist's eyes flicked to me, curious, then returned to my wife. Of course, dear. I sank into the chair, my hands clutching the edges tightly. Every movement felt foreign. Every brush stroke against my hair, every dab of foundation, every stroke of lipstick made me feel smaller, weaker, more exposed. Then came the worst part, nails. She picked a delicate pink and painted each one with meticulous care. I watched helplessly as my hands transformed before my eyes, the very tools I had used to defend myself now becoming symbols of my captivity. When the stylist leaned back, admiring her work, my wife whispered, "Look at yourself." I did. The girl in the mirror now had flowing hair, perfect makeup, long manicured nails, and the tiniest hint of a smile painted onto her face. She looked beautiful, and I hated her for it. Tears slipped down my cheeks, smudging mascara over freshly painted skin. I don't want this, I whispered. My wife's fingers brushed my hair away from my face. Oh, you do.
Don't lie to me.
Every time you look at yourself, every time someone calls you pretty, every time your heels wobble, you'll feel it. That little spark. The part of you that's curious. My lips trembled. She was right. I hated her. I hated the salon. I hated the makeover. But a tiny, dangerous part of me couldn't stop glancing at my reflection. "You're ready for the next step," she whispered, leaning close. "A little outing. Let's see how the world reacts." I wanted to run. I wanted to scream. But my body obeyed her, trembling, silent. Because even as I resisted, I knew there was no escape anymore. The salon doors swung open, and I froze. Sunlight hit my face, making the reflection of my painted lips and manicured nails seem even sharper, even more alien. My wife's hand gripped my arm firmly, guiding me forward. "Remember what I taught you," she whispered. "Chin up, smile, float." I wobbled on the heels, the skirt brushing my thighs. Every step a battle. People passed by, giving me fleeting glances. My stomach churned with panic. A group of teenage girls giggled as we walked past. One of them nudged the other and whispered, "She's so pretty." My heart stopped.
Pretty. Me.
I wanted to sink through the floor. My face burned, my hands shook, but my wife's steady grip held me upright. "See," she murmured. "It's thrilling, isn't it?" I shook my head fiercely.
No.
"It's humiliating." Her smile didn't waver. Humiliation and thrill often live together. You'll learn to enjoy both. We passed a boutique where a male clerk glanced at me, raised an eyebrow, then smirked. I felt a shiver run down my spine. Not entirely unpleasant. "Good girl," she whispered, her lips brushing my ear. "You're learning fast. Soon everyone will see the way I do." Every step outside was a test. Every glance, every whisper, cut me open emotionally. I hated it. I hated her. I hated the reflection of myself in every window we passed. Then, a familiar voice called from across the street.
Ethan?
"Is that you?" My heart froze. It was Mark. I felt my body tighten. My knees threatened to buckle. My wife pressed closer, whispering, "Don't answer. Pretend." Mark was staring, confused, his eyes wide. I wanted to run. I wanted to scream. But I stayed rooted, a perfect doll in public, my reflection alien in shop windows as we passed. "Don't let him see anything," she murmured. "Not yet. Let him wonder. Let him want to know." I swallowed, forcing my lips into a smile that felt like betrayal, both to myself and to the boy I used to be. And for the first time, I realized the public wasn't just a stage. It was a prison. Every glance, every whisper, every praise I hated and craved at the same time. I was already losing the battle. The days following the salon trip blurred into a dizzying routine of dresses, heels, and makeup. Every mirror I passed reflected a version of myself I barely recognized. I hated her for making me this way, yet a small, dangerous part of me couldn't look away. It was during one of these outings, this time to a quaint coffee shop, that the next layer of my torment appeared. We entered, and my heels clicked loudly on the wooden floor. People glanced, some smiled, some whispered. I kept my eyes down, gripping the purse like a lifeline. Then I noticed him, a young man, probably a year older than me, sitting at a corner table, sketchbook in hand. He looked up, and our eyes met. A slow smile spread across his face, genuine, intrigued. "You're really pretty," he said softly. I froze.
Pretty.
That word again, like a blade twisting in my chest. My wife's hand pressed against mine under the table, grounding me. "See," she whispered. "You're learning to enjoy it." I wanted to pull away, to hide. Instead, I found myself nodding slightly, my voice cracking. Thank you." The man's smile widened. "I'm not trying to be rude. You have this energy. Like you don't quite belong here, but you fit perfectly." My heart pounded. Was it fear? Embarrassment? Or something else? I felt heat rising to my cheeks, and my hands curled around the purse, so tightly they ached. My wife leaned closer, whispering with that same dangerous sweetness. "You like the attention, don't you? Admit it." I shook my head violently, denying it.
No.
"I hate it." Her lips brushed my ear. "But you don't. That little spark you felt when he called you pretty, That's real. And you can't ignore it. The man's eyes held mine a second longer, and I felt a strange pull, something I hadn't experienced before. A mixture of fear, desire, and shame. I wanted to flee. I wanted to scream, but my body betrayed me. I stayed seated, my legs crossed tightly, my face burning. Every glance, every word, every subtle smile from him intensified the chaos inside me. For the first time, I realized that being controlled, humiliated, and transformed wasn't just breaking me. It was awakening something I didn't understand about myself. And my wife knew it. She smiled at me across the table, her eyes gleaming with triumph. "See, Ethan," she murmured, "this is what I promised you. You'll feel more than fear. You'll feel curiosity, desire, confusion, and there's nothing you can do to stop it." I looked down at my hands, clutching the purse like a lifeline. Somewhere deep inside, I hated her for knowing me this well. And yet somewhere equally deep, I hated myself for feeling it too. Ethan experiences a forbidden attraction to a new male admirer while his wife's control deepens. He's trapped between humiliation, desire, and a rapidly fading sense of self. The following week felt like a lifetime. Each day, my wife introduced new rules, new routines, and new challenges designed to strip away what little remained of the boy I used to be. Morning routines became rituals of submission: shaving, skincare, makeup, selecting an outfit from the wardrobe she had curated like a collector with precious dolls. Each step reminded me of her power, each reflection a silent accusation. One evening, she brought home a full-length mirror, placing it in the center of the living room. "From now on, you'll watch yourself," she said. "Every movement, every expression, every thought reflected. You will learn to see yourself as the world sees you." I froze, staring at the mirror like it was a portal to some alternate reality. "You'll start with a full makeup session," she commanded. "Foundation, blush, eyeshadow, mascara, lipstick. Then we'll do hair and nails. By the end of it, you will look like me envisioned." I tried to protest, but the words caught in my throat. Step by step, she transformed me. My hair fell in soft waves around my shoulders. My eyes glimmered with mascara and eyeliner, accentuating a vulnerability I hated and craved simultaneously. My lips glistened with a soft pink, my nails shining. When she was done, I looked at myself. The reflection staring back wasn't me. Not really. It was her girl. "You're beautiful," she whispered, circling me like a predator admiring her work. "And you know it. That little spark of pride when you look at yourself, don't fight it. Embrace it. It's part of your new life." I didn't speak. I couldn't. For the first time, I noticed a subtle shift inside me. The boy I used to be was fading, replaced by someone else. Someone fragile, vulnerable, but undeniably feminine. "Tomorrow," she said, her voice smooth and deadly, "you will attend a gathering. Friends, colleagues, they will see you. And you will behave perfectly." I swallowed hard. The thought of stepping outside in full display terrified me. But there was no turning back. As I stood before the mirror, fully transformed, a mix of emotions churned inside me: fear, shame, humiliation, and a tiny, dangerous thrill. I hated her. I hated the world. I hated myself. And yet, deep inside, I couldn't deny the truth anymore. I was no longer the boy who had woken up in her clothes. I was becoming the girl she had created. Ethan is fully transformed, trapped between fear, shame, and a new, intoxicating identity, facing a public appearance that will test his psyche completely. The morning of the gathering, I woke in a haze of dread. Every muscle in my body ached from the week's relentless routine, every thought consumed by the image of the girl in the mirror. I barely recognized the reflection staring back at me. My wife stood beside me, immaculate as always, radiating control and confidence. "Today," she said softly, "you will meet the world, and they will see you as you truly are." I felt my stomach twist into knots. My heels, my skirt, my painted lips, they weren't just clothes or makeup anymore. They were a mask I couldn't remove. When we arrived at the venue, The room buzzed with conversation. Colleagues, friends, acquaintances, all faces familiar yet distorted in my new reality. My hands trembled as my wife guided me through the crowd, each step in heels sending shocks of fear and humiliation through my body. "Smile," she whispered. "Introduce yourself. Remember, you're her now." And I did. My voice was higher than it used to be, soft and uncertain, my posture carefully feminine. Every word felt foreign, every glance from the crowd a mirror reflecting the girl I had become. Then it happened. Mark stepped into the room, his eyes scanning until they landed on me. "Ethan?" he asked, disbelief and confusion mixing in his voice. The room seemed to close in. Every eye turned toward us. I froze, paralyzed by fear, shame, and an unspoken, dangerous curiosity. My wife's hand pressed gently on my back.
Go on. Speak.
I forced a smile, nodding to Mark. "Hi. I'm fine." Mark's eyes lingered, searching for the boy he knew, but finding only the girl I had become. A flicker of recognition crossed his face, then hesitation. He looked away, uncertain how to respond. The rest of the evening was a blur. People complimented me, called me pretty, admired my makeup, my outfit, my grace. Every word felt like fire, both humiliating and intoxicating. And the truth hit me like a hammer. The girl in the mirror, the one everyone was seeing, was more than just a disguise. She was becoming me. By the end of the night, I was exhausted, emotionally raw, and broken. My wife guided me home, her fingers brushing against mine in a way that was both tender and possessive. As I collapsed into bed, I stared at my reflection in the nightstand mirror. The girl I had become stared back, eyes wide with fear, lips trembling. "Do you accept her?" my wife whispered softly, sitting beside me. I didn't answer. I couldn't, because deep down I already knew. The boy I had been, the shy, timid, ordinary boy, was gone. And the girl in the mirror was me. Ethan has fully transformed, publicly and privately, and faces a future where his old identity is irreversibly gone. Fear, shame, and a strange thrill coexist as he accepts, whether he wants to or not, that his life has changed forever.